Welcome back, Better Agents. In today's video, we're talking about a subject that often plagues agency owners all across the country, and that is, how do we find and hire top talent? Now, before we get into the video, if you're an independent insurance agent, or maybe you're just thinking about becoming an independent insurance agent, then down in the description of this video is a link to my personal calendar. I've opened it up for 30-minute slots where I'm gonna be talking with agents, whether they wanna talk about sales, marketing, training, it doesn't matter. We'll collaborate, we'll brainstorm together. It's free of charge, there's no pitch. It's just 30 minutes on my calendar that I'm making available to anybody that wants to ask questions about it or just have somebody that they can talk to. If that's you, then schedule an appointment directly with me by finding the link to my calendar in the description below. This subject is fascinating to me, so much so that I even went into a Facebook group for independent insurance agents and I just wanted to get their feedback, their thoughts. Why is it hard to find good people?
Why?
This person said it's the stigma of the insurance industry, that the pay scale for agency work doesn't attract top players. Most are small businesses without bigger company perks. This person said that the biggest problem with today's workforce is inflated entitlement. This 20-year veteran says he's never seen it so bad. He's hiring for two positions, one that pays over $75,000 and the other pays $100,000, and they can't come up with one single person that they can talk to or even interview. Now, I have a lot of reactions and opinions to the things agents are saying in threads just like this, and I'm gonna touch on those opinions towards the end of this video. To get a better grasp of the situation, I sought out advice and feedback from one of my personal friends, Grant Botma. Grant is the owner of Stewardship Insurance, Stewardship Mortgage, and Stewardship Financial. Grant is one of the premier thought leaders when it comes to hiring and training. He has over 20 high-performing employees on his team, so I wanted to catch up with him, get his thoughts and opinions, and I had to do that by going to a golf course where he was playing a round of golf with a few of his employees. Here's what he had to say.
I think the biggest problem people have when hiring, the biggest issue that they're dealing with is patience. When you need to hire now because you have a problem, you have too much business than you can handle, or you just lost one of your employees. So you need an immediate fix. And the problem is good hiring is a long game. It takes patience, it's relationship building, it's culture management. And if you don't have some of the right things set in place, you might have a hard time finding talent when you need it. I'm trying to determine if I have a winning prospect who's working for me is why are they applying for the job? What's their purpose? Sure, can we take care of them financially, but do they align with the purpose of my company, the things that we do? I want to find out if when they come to work, they're also going to be passionate about doing the products and services that I offer to our community. That's a big deal. Do they align with my why? So one of the tangible ways to figure out if they align with you is ask them that. Ask them in an email, why do you want this job? And how do you align with the purpose of our company? And make sure that they check out your mission on your website, and they do their research on your company, and then you can see how they respond. So asking those why questions is really cool and philosophical, but there's other tangible things that you want to do whenever you're trying to hire and find out if they're the right fit for you. Other questions that I ask in the email are, how long is your commute? And if you're working from home, what's your work from home environment like? I ask them to describe those things and see if those things are going to allow them to thrive in the job that they have. Working from home is important nowadays. I want to make sure they're set up for that. And if they're driving into the office, I want to make sure that that drive's not going to be a burden on them, because it's hard to have sustainable employment if that's a thing. A couple other tangible things that I like to give prospects when hiring are a couple of different tests. One is called the Working Genius Test. This lets me know if the work that they're doing for me aligns with the type of work that they appreciate doing. Example, if they're gonna have to be on the phone and talking to people a lot, I don't necessarily want them to be wired in a way to not like that or appreciate that. So this Working Genius Test, if you Google that, Working Genius Test, I really, really like that one. Very inexpensive to do and strongly recommend it when thinking about hiring folks. So another tangible thing that you can do is an emotional intelligence test. This is not necessarily designed to be a hiring tool, but I really like it because it lets me know how self-aware the prospect is, then also how aware of others the prospect is. An emotional intelligence test, love it. I think it's talentsmart.com is where you can get it. You can also read the book Emotional Intelligence 2.0, so good for hiring. So I'm gonna address that problem right now, saying, oh, there's nobody out there, there's no good talent. That is so false. There are tons of people out there looking for jobs and amazing talent all over the place. So you've gotta get rid of that limiting belief. When you start telling yourself that, you will have a hard time finding people. But there are a lot of great people, a lot of good talent all over the place. So just know that, that's a fact, and it's statistically proven. But you do have to do the right things to attract them. So where do you find top talent? I think the reason why people say to themselves, I can't find anybody anywhere, is because they're looking for people that are not currently employed. I know that might be the low-hanging fruit. Oh, they're not employed, they need employment, I can get them. But where you find top talent is actually people who are gainfully employed now. Now, I don't want you to go steal employees from other agencies or other places. That's not ideal. But really great employees are valuable, which means they're adding value to companies now. So to me, if I see a resume of somebody who's currently employed, that is a green check mark. Yes, this is good, because great employees are currently employed. And another thing, you got to make sure you're not always looking for employees that are currently working in the industry you're hiring for. You don't have to find them in insurance agencies. Mike, where did you work before I hired you?
I was on the mission field.
I was in the mission field. Marshall, where did you work before I hired you?
Columbia International University as a men's basketball coach.
Brandon, where were you working before I hired you?
FBI.
FBI. Nobody here, that my employees, they didn't work in the services and products that we offer now. We do financial services now, and none of them worked in that area. So don't be scared to look outside of your field. All right, mistake number one when you're trying to attract the top talent is by just having a really expensive pay schedule. That might bring people in to start, or it might get people to look at it, but when they become working for you, you just hired selfish people, because all they're looking out for is themselves, their paycheck, and that's not going to give you good talent. That means when you put that Band-Aid on that wound, they're going to leave and the Band-Aid's going to go and the wound's going to be infected and bad. You don't want to do that. Pay people, so in a fair way, but don't try to attract them with money. You want to attract them with other things instead. So here's the thing that attracts talent way more than pay will. It's freedom. So if you're putting together a job description or a job announcement, you're going to want to talk about all the different pieces of freedom that you give as a company, or the types of freedom that they're going to have in their life because they're employed with you. If you don't know what that freedom looks like, then you need to rethink how you manage your employees and how you're managing this position. Do they get to work from home? Can they come and go as they please? What does vacation look like? And so much more. Making sure that they have freedom, autonomy, people love that. And it's likely there's some really good employees working somewhere else that don't have freedom, but if they were working for you and they had more freedom, they might come to work for your company. So another thing is, what type of attitude do you have as a leader? Are you trying to squeeze everything you can out of your employees? Are you using them? Or do you care about them? Do you want to bless them? Do you want to give them a better life through the employment that they have with you? Because if you do that, word is going to spread to everybody else in your community that that's what you do, that you care about people, and that their life gets better when they work for you. And over time, people are going to want to work for you. You are not going to have to ask people if they want to work for you. You'll be having people ask you, hey, can I come work at your company?
Here's my personal belief. We don't have a talent problem in the insurance industry. We have a leadership problem. In a work from home world, the access to top talent has never been greater. It's not always enough to pay somebody the top end of the salary. Sometimes you have to have a place where people actually enjoy working. You have to have a culture that invites people, that makes them have a sense of purpose in working for you. If you want to hire top talent, then you have to become a top end leader. You have to create a top end work environment. And to do that requires personal growth, requires you to evaluate and look at, reflect in the mirror on the things that you could be doing better inside of your organization. As I reflect on my journey, I can point to 3 books that I've read that had a huge impact on my leadership development. All 3 books were written by the same author, John Maxwell. The first was Developing the Leader Within You. It talks about leadership being influence. It's not a position that you have. Just because you're an agency owner doesn't necessarily make you a good leader, but leadership is influence. It also talks about leadership is always the problem. Leadership is always the problem. When there's a problem in my business, there's a problem with how things are going in my organization, leadership is the problem. The good news is leadership is always the answer. If you want to attract good people, you need to be a good leader. The second book was Developing the Leaders Around You, how to raise people up, train them, equip them, and make them into good leaders. And the third book is The Law of the Lid. There's a lid on your leadership, and people are never going to exceed your own personal lid. So if you want to take people to higher levels, you yourself have to raise the lid on your own leadership. It starts with you. You can find any of those books on Amazon. I would highly encourage you to read them. Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you've enjoyed it. Make sure you're subscribed to the channel, like this video, comment down below, let me know your thoughts, and we'll see you again on the next video.